But I knew that I was really had hit the right mark because I saw people always wearing these shirts on the television newscast, and someone said "Death Before Disco." And the other one, the big one, was "Disco Sucks," which is the name of this song. Thanks, everybody. So that was like a lucky break for us because we sent that around and it became like an underground hit. So, like I said, like in the book, that you know, that song, that whole single became DOA's passport to go travel around the world. And it took me a few years to realize that after putting out these singles and these early albums and stuff like that, that I kind of thought, really, what am I? That musician, done all this other stuff, you know. A writer now, you know, it's like actually a friend of mine, the first book I sent, I shithead to him, and he read the book and he said, "Joe, you truly are the Hemingway of hemorrhoids." And that's the only time I ever mentioned the same breath, right? But that's good enough for me. One time works, right? I'll take that, right? And, but you know, there's stuff like I've been, done a million jobs like a cab driver, bouncer, construction guy. I've been an actor, radio show host and stuff like that. But it took me about 15, 20 years before I realized what I really was. I was a troublemaker. That's what I was doing. That I make trouble, like for you know, for politicians, big corporations. You know, I go like trying. You know, it's like you go up to the giant and you try and like step on their toe and run away as fast as you can, right? Before they let me step on you, type thing, right? So. But after about 20 years, I realized that I wasn't just a mere rank amateur troublemaker. I was a professional troublemaker, you know what I mean? So just like now I'm an author and a professional troublemaker, right? So we're just on the road and we're just joking, like you should have a fucking smoking jacket and a pipe, right? So Joe, what's your next book going to be about, right? You know, so anyways, that's not happening, don't worry, it's not that bad. So. Anyways, one of the things I got to tell you about the old punk rock haunts in Vancouver. We're talking about the railway and stuff like that, the 343 Railway Warehouse. But every town, pretty well, had the place where punk rock started out. And the reason why punk rock was so great, and I think it still is great, is that it's an expression of freedom, right? And it gave me a chance to question authority and cause trouble and not conform. And you know, to me and our gang, it never really mattered what you looked like. You know, if they had a big hall and all the kids have mohawks and studded jackets and looked like they just stepped out of GBH, the guy who walks in with the suit and the briefcase is, to me, that's almost more punk rock, if you ask me, right? Because it's not conforming to it, right? So, and this was because it was just this real freedom of expression when the music came along. So every kind of town had a place where it started. Like in London it was the 100 Club, right? And New York was CBGB's. In San Francisco, the fabulous Mabuhay Gardens. The Mask in Los Angeles, maybe the Turning Point or Larry's Highway in Toronto. Anyway, so, but Vancouver, it was the Smiling Buddha. which is just over there, about a mile. If you go there, it's 109 East Hastings. And just before we started playing DOA, we had this rock band we were called Stone Crazy, right? This was given from the amount of pot that we smoked. That's how we got the name Stone Crazy, right? So, and we couldn't get a gig to save our lives. I mean, we were shit, so I don't know, it didn't really matter, but we were trying to be like a regular rock band. And we drove by the Smiling Buddha, and you know, we're lamenting the fact that we couldn't get any shows. And a friend of mine said, he was driving with us, and he went like, well, when you get a show in there, the Smiling Buddha? I went, are you fucking crazy? People get stabbed in there every fucking night, right? And sure enough, 6 months later, there we were putting a punk rock band at the Smiling Buddha, right? So, and the guy, Lashman and Nancy Gier were the two people that owned it, and wonderful couple, and it was kind of like a family business, and they were delighted when the punks showed up, and they started playing there 3 nights a week, 5 nights a week, because it, you know, it was like $1.50 to get in, and it was $1.50 for a beer, and he couldn't believe how much, Lashman, the owner, couldn't believe how much money he was making, because like, you know, there'd be 50 punks buying beer at $1.50, and previously the biggest audience he ever had would have been like 6 people, and that would have consisted of like 2 drunks, 2 hookers, and 2 undercover cops, right? So, you know, and one of the key components about this story is that the Smiling Buddha was just like a block away from 222 Main, which is the main police station still here, and so it's very convenient that they could have the troublemakers that close to the thing. It's just one of those things, right? So, and so, anyways, one rainy night in Vancouver, which it happens once or twice a year, right? I say this around the out east, and they go, "Yeah, Joe, you're a tourism guy for Vancouver, right?" Anyways, yeah, once or twice a year, right? So one rainy night, I was in there watching the Fabulous Subhumans, one of the greatest bands ever to come from this country, and they're playing away, and there's about like 30 people in there or something like that, and I sit at the table like Randy Rampage, DOA's old bass player. We're sitting there with our girlfriends at this table having a couple of beer, and you know, nothing's going on, nobody's dancing, the band's just up there playing, and all of a sudden about 8 cops come in the front door, and by this point, we'd been going for about 8-10 months, and we'd have pretty well, DOA had firmly established ourselves as the chief troublemakers, or one of the chief troublemakers of the punk rock scene. So we were known persons to the police, what we looked like and stuff like that, you know. And so I'm sitting at this table, and this cop marches up to me, and he goes, "You're under arrest." And I go, "What for?" He says, "Being drunk and disorderly." I go, "Drunk and disorderly? Like, you know, it's like, I mean, I know what it's like to be drunk and disorderly. It just wasn't one of those nights, right?" So, I'll show you if you want, right? So if I'm gonna get arrested, right? So, so I guess I was a little bit mad, and I stood up. When I stood up, I knocked the cop over, like it was him with his shoulder, right? I wasn't trying. It's just one of those things. So then I got attacked by the other 7 cops and put into a chokehold, and I passed out, and they were kicking me in the nuts and the groin area type thing, and dragged me to the door. And Randy came to my rescue, and he had his like hands in the cop's arm that was around my neck, trying to drag it off, right? So the police decided, like, okay, we're not just going to arrest one person, we'll arrest everybody. And we go like, okay, you know, you get all the troublemakers at once. So the way I woke up was in the back of a paddy wagon. We were all like handcuffed, of course. And they'd go along the street, the tracks by the waterfront, by the ships there on the north side there. And they're speeding along. What they did, they went along up to 40 miles an hour. And then all of a sudden, the one policeman went like, bam, he stands on the brakes, right? So the 10 of us in the back of the paddy wagon, we all go, wham! We hit the wall right behind the cab where the policemen are sitting, right? And we go like, I woke up like, holy fuck, I smashed my head on the wall, right? So, and you see the 3 cops look back through the window like, that's a good one, right? So, I go like, okay. So then what happened? So then the guy driver, he steps on the gas. And of course, what happens is the opposite reaction. Everybody flies to the fucking back door, bam, right? So, and it wasn't very pleasant. My guy handed to him. After 3 or 4 of these, you pretty well gave up all sense of resistance and being mouthy and stuff like that because you've been fucking banged around so much, right? So, you know, what happened is that they didn't quite get everybody, but there's about 10 or 15 people that have been hanging around that didn't get arrested. And there's about 30 of us in the drunk tank, men in the men's tank and women in the women's tank, and about 15 of our friends went down to where the desk sergeant has his desk, and they had complaints and all that kind of thing, and they caused such a ruckus and yelling, I guess they got tired of arresting these people, they finally just said, oh, fuck it, let all these idiots out type thing, right? So there was all like about 45 of us staggering down the street, about 5 in the morning by May and Hastings, like we all went for coffee or something like that and talked about it, right? But yeah, it was rough, and a friend of mine got beat pretty badly in there, and I got called down to the station to see if I could identify the officer, because I could see it through the drunk tank window, and it didn't work out. Then there was a police investigation. When I looked up in the dictionary, it was all the picture that was there was a whitewash, right? But I wrote this song about that. It's called "Woke Up Screaming."